Hi, friends. It's my first day back teaching, and I don't have anybody that came. So I'm ready, and my mat's ready. So I'm going to record this anyway. And if anybody pays for it, well, then I'll send it to you. Great. Welcome to Shakti Flow. As we set an intention, we can close the eyes, take a deep breath, and soften into that still point, that moment where we can bring in intention and focus and clarity. Today's practice is all about moving with intention rather than intensity so that we can have what I like to call inspired action. So rather than just moving our body for moving's sake, is what we would call exercise. Shakti Flow incorporates the yoga philosophy of breath and movement and awareness and intention. So today, let's move with intention rather than intensity for inspired action on the mat and off. Bring your hands together. Take a nice deep breath. And as we exhale, the hands can release and the eyes can flutter open. Okay, I'll meet you on the mat. We're going to do something just a little different this morning. We're going to start on the floor, and it's a little bit like flossing, but what we're going to do is release the psoas, because if you release the psoas, that big muscle that yogis talk about all the time, that connects the lower body to the upper body and kind of weaves around the groin and up around the lower back. If we release that, we can get better core engagement. So let's get better core engagement as we get down on the mat. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Is it just you today, Lupo?
No, Marie is joining me in 30 seconds.
Well, I just started my my little opening, so I was about ready to get down on the mat. I was recording it for you because I didn't know if you were coming. So let's just get started.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to lay down on the mat and start a little differently than what we might normally do. We're going to open the psoas or relax the psoas so that we can have better core engagement. If you have blocks with you today and a strap with a loop, that might help you as we go through this practice. So lying down on the mat with your knees bent and go as wide as the mat with your feet. If you can take your arms to a T or to a cactus shape without it impinging your shoulders, do that. And then let's take the right knee and drop it in towards the left foot without moving your left leg. We're rotating that leg inward wherever it'll go. Try not to move your feet around. And then bring the leg up and do the same thing on the other side. Left leg in towards the right foot. And it won't go all the way down. Don't worry about it. And then come back up to center. Now push into both feet. Lift your hips up away from the floor. And go wherever you want to go here. And then we're going to repeat that. So right knee to left foot, drops in, rotates towards the leg, and then inhale up and change sides. So what's key here is that the pelvis doesn't move. And then push up in towards that bridge with wide feet apart. So we'll do a couple more. So the pelvis stays quiet while that knee rotates in. And if you're tight in your psoas, you're going to feel this limitation. It's not going to move as easily as you might think. So we're releasing the psoas so that the core, the deep core muscles, can actually function. They shut down and they don't really react very well when the psoas is super tight. Let's do one more all the way around, dropping your knee towards your foot without moving that opposite leg. And then come up and then switch. And then one more bridge, pushing straight up. Good. And then bring your legs towards your chest, give them a little hug, and then roll over onto your side and press yourself up away from the floor. Come up into what I like to call a zigzag shape. So you've got your feet in that, excuse me, same wide position. I'm leaning back on my arms, and I'm going to drop both knees now, this time towards one direction. And when I do that, I want to take my back shoulder, the one that feels like it wants to follow me. I'm going to pull it backwards and push my knee into the floor and open up that front line from my knee, groin, all the way up to my shoulder. Just take a breath here. And then release it and go ahead and switch your sides. Just drop your knees over to one side. Keep leaning back on your hands. And when your leg gets down, push the knee into the floor and roll the shoulder as much as you can away from it. So if you're tight in your psoas, this is going to feel really restrictive. It's going to be a little challenging. See where you can go. Let's do one more on each side. As you push that knee into the floor, bring that opposite shoulder back. So in my case, it's my right knee and my right shoulder. And then one more time on the other side. Drop the knee, push that top knee down as you pull that same shoulder back. Good. And then come up to center. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Stay on your hands, but bring them closer to the sides of your body so you're not leaning backward anymore. You're sitting straight up. Toes are to the sky. Engage your legs so you feel your quadriceps activate. If this is hard for you and you feel a little bit like you're falling backwards, sit on a little blanket. But push yourself way up on your sit bones. Keep your toes lifting and then take your arms out in front of you with your thumbs to the ceiling. Take a breath here, and as you exhale, pull the stomach in and reach forward like you're trying to touch the wall, not your feet. Inhale, come back up, and now roll backward. Keep your feet down and find a place where you can easily manage this. And you'll feel your core engage. Inhale, come up. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, come up, and exhale, roll back. And we're going to do 3 more, just taking your time. Sit nice and tall when you sit. Forward, reaching, let the spine round slightly. And then inhale, sit up nice and tall, and then leaning back. Inhale, sit tall, and reach. And inhale, sit tall, and lean. So this obviously is engaging the core a little bit. Can you feel that there's maybe a little more activity going on? Inhale and exhale back. Now this time when you exhale back, I want you to stay wherever you are. Make sure your neck and shoulders are relaxed. Lift one foot up. Hold it there for a breath. Lower it down. Lift the other foot up. Hold it there for a breath. Lower it down. Now, if you're stronger and you want to, lift one foot, then lift the other. And we hold it for a breath. Good. Feet down, inhale. This time, lift your arms straight up. Reach, reach, reach. And then soften your knees as you exhale and fold forward. Pause here and ask yourself if that was an intentional movement, or do you feel like it was too much? Like that's that question around intensity. You want it to be enough so that you feel like you're doing something, but not so much that you could maybe injure yourself or strain yourself. One more breath here. Okay. And then go ahead and sit up. Moving on, I want you to take your legs and crisscross them into what we call easy seat. So rather than trying to cross your ankles and make it tighter, move your feet away from you and slide your feet under your knees if you can, so that the legs actually rest on your feet. Not everybody can do that. Again, the blanket is helpful. Reach up, get nice and tall, and then drop your right arm and lean to your right. Now, all of these movements are warm-up movements, but they're also really helping you to engage that core part of the body so that when you move around later, there's a little bit more support. Inhale up. This time we're going to twist to your right, hand on your leg, other hand on the floor, looking back behind you. Take a breath. Now, keeping your hand on your leg, we're going to take the other arm up and over and crisscross your arms. Pull with your hands and lean forward, elbows towards your legs, head towards the floor. It's a big action for your whole back body. Inhale, come back up. Now, the leg you got in front, I want you to stretch it out to the side. You might still be in that twisting action, right? So we're going to take the back arm up and over, and we're going to stretch over that straight leg. And then you place your back hand on the floor, and this is a maybe. Lift your hips up and go the other way. Lower the hips down. Hand on your leg again, come up and over. So the intensity is now coming up a little. Ask yourself if that's with intention. Reaching up. So you might really feel this big stretch in the front of your hip when you lift your hips up if you're doing it with me. And that's that psoas again. Reach. We'll do one more. Hand on your leg to keep you honest. And then lean over, shoulder towards your leg, hand on the floor behind you. Reach back and lift. Now stay here and push into your heel of your straight leg. Reach back. See if you can glide that arm along behind your ear a little bit. Push down into your shins. Make the motion a little bigger. Exhale, lower it and come down. All right, so switching your leg cross so that when you go to open the leg again, the front leg is going to do that for you. Sit up nice and tall. Reaching arms up. Left hand now comes on the floor, reaching over to the left. Inhale, come up. Two arms high. Get long. Other hand on the floor, lean. Inhale, come tall. And now twist to your left. Hand on your knee, other hand on the floor behind you. And feel that big stretch. Nice twist. And then take your back hand around, grab your opposite leg. So you kind of crossed over yourself and pull so that your elbows come down and your head comes down. Take a breath here. And then inhale, come back up. Releasing your one hand, the one that went first, last, and stretch that leg out behind you. Come back to the twist. So we're back in that shape again. Take the back arm up and over. And then inhale, take the arm back behind you and either stay in the twist or open yourself up. Pressing through your heel and release and come down. Hand goes back on the thigh as you reach over. There's a lot of crossing over the midline through this little series. It's really good for our brain to do that. Right to left and left to right. So if that's kind of hard for you, it's a nice thing to practice. Reach up and over. And we'll do one more. All the way over. And then back. This time we're going to hang out here for a breath or two. Press down into the shin. Press into the heel. See if you can glide your arm back a little and open the whole front of your body. One more breath. And then exhale, release, and come down. All right. Stretch your legs out in front of you, give them a little shake. And then we're coming to tabletop. Tabletop pose. Now, something that might be helpful to you is if your wrists bother you, go ahead and put blocks under your hands. It takes the weight off the wrists and helps you just feel a little bit more anchored. Got all my notes here. All right, so wherever you put your hands underneath your shoulders, look at your fingertips and go one hand distance ahead. I want you to shift forward over your hands so that you're in this little baby plank pose. And then rock your hips back, toes are turned under, pushing into your hands so that you keep your arms engaged. Inhale, come forward into that little baby plank pose, and then go back. All right, so one more here. So as we come forward, I want you to flip your feet so they're flat, toenails down, and you're going to start to drop your pelvis as you look up. Now, everybody's different here. Just go where you go, and then release and go back again. Hips towards your heels, toes are turned under. Inhale, release toenails to the floor, tailbone down, heart up, push. And we'll do one more like that. So if you feel kind of congested in your lower back, don't push too hard. Just let your body go where it wants to go. We're still trying to open up the front body and the psoas area. Good. And then release. Come back to your tabletop. Get your toes turned under. Feel kind of neutral here. And then lift your kneecaps off the floor. Take a step back with your right foot, a step back with your left foot, a step forward with your right foot, step forward with your left foot, land. Take a breath. Pressing into your fingertips. Remember to use the blocks if your wrists bother you. Lift your knees. Step back, step back, step forward, land. One more time. Take a breath. Exhale, core engages. Can you pull your belly button and ribs in? Lift your knees. Step back, step back, step forward, and land. Great. One more time. Walk your hands forward. This time, elbows coming to the floor. If you're in good alignment, your hips are going to be right over your knees and not behind you. So try to line yourself up so that your hips and your knees are lined up. Elbows and hands lined up with your shoulders. You're going to press off your elbows so that your arms straighten, and then lower your elbows back down. So lift and lower. And make it feel like you're gliding. We're kicking in a little bit muscle work now through the shoulders, triceps, front of the chest. So I'm just kind of pumping my arms a little. I'm feeling that activity warming up your arms and shoulders right away. Keep pulling the elbows in toward each other. You don't want them winging out to the side. That's going to bother your shoulders over time. And then go ahead and stay on your elbows. Now you're landed. Take your right foot back straight. Take your left foot back straight. And now you're in a forearm plank. Take 3 breaths here. Pull the belly button and the ribs up on your exhale. Soften your shoulders so that they're not overworking. And then from here, drop your hips down. Keep your toes turned under and push through your legs so your kneecaps come off the floor. Push into your hands and try to drag them backwards and lift up your chest. So you're pushing your legs. You should feel your quads engage and your glutes engage. Pull with your arms so your chest moves forward. That's going to help you in that lower belly area. Keep pushing with the legs. One more breath. And then lower down. Hands slide next to the ribs, shoulders on your back. Push yourself up and find downward facing dog. First one. Find downward facing dog. And let your dog pose be a little bit of a pedaling or a wiggling, finding your place here or where you want to be. If you're like me and you have short hamstrings, meaning they're not very long in my natural length, go ahead and widen your stance. You might find that you've got a little bit more freedom. Take one more breath here. And then I want you to look forward. You're going to take a big step with your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Take a big step with your left foot to the outside of your left hand and come up on your fingertips. Drop your hips down. Find that place where you can manage it. Knees track over the foot. So you're trying to pull the knees open as you drop the hips down. And you're just going to try and keep your spine nice and long. I don't have any weight on my hands. If this feels impossible, blocks are nice to bring yourself up higher. Take one more breath. And then bring your elbows up onto your legs, hands or fingers touching. Drop your hips and look up more. Excuse me. Draw the pelvic floor up and in. And then take your hands to your heart center. One more breath. And then push through your feet. Come straight up. Reach with your arms until they're open. And so you're in this pose that we call goddess pose now. Feet are wide, and depending on how your hips are, your feet might be wider than how they were when you were down there in that squat. And then I want you to exhale and bring yourself down again. Elbows are by your side. Knees are tracking open. And then inhale, come back up. Big stretch. Exhale down. This time bring your elbows together and open. And go back up again. Inhale and exhale. And then close your elbows and open them. Let's do that one more time. I need to take a drink. I've got a tickle. And then when you come back down again, stay there and lift a heel. Keep the heel off the floor as you go up. And you come back down. Lower that heel, lift the other heel. Go back up. Come back down. And now see, can you lift both heels? Lift up and lower down. Good. Lower the heels. Hands come on your legs now. Stick your booty out behind you and lean forward. And I want you to twist around, looking over your right shoulder. Push against your left leg like you're trying to make it get wider. Drop your hips down lower. And then switch sides. Look over your back shoulder. So I'm looking over my right. You might be looking over your left. Push open that opposite leg as you sit down more. Good. Inhale, come to center. Take your tailbone and your heart up for the inhale. Tailbone and head down. Cat pose for the exhale. 3 of these. Inhale and exhale. Pull the belly button and the ribs up on the exhale. Let them release on the inhale. Last one. And exhale. Good. Find a neutral position and then take your arms up over, stand all the way up. And then as your hands come down, bring your feet together. And we'll pause in Tadasana. Say good morning to your body. If you want to challenge your balance, bring your feet all the way together so they touch. And close your eyes. A simple way to pay attention to your balance. Let your breath settle down. So this is recovery here. When you have to breathe through your mouth, your body's in a little bit of a fight or flight kind of pattern. Keep working on breathing through your nose. I can't really do that too well because I'm talking. But notice how you're swaying a little bit. This is your body's proprioception trying to find a way to stay center. But we're always slightly moving, just like the trees outside. And this is what I would give people to work on before they stand on one leg. Can you do this and feel fairly steady? Squeeze your legs together. Draw your tailbone to the floor and your heart to the sky. See if when you engage these muscles a little bit more from the inner body, you feel more stable. One more breath. And then go ahead and relax, open the eyes if you close them, and shake everything out. All right, so let's pick up some weights now. Working a little bit more, kind of warmed everything up. I would go with light set. Seems how it's the first one. This is my first class since I've been back, so I'm going to go a little bit easier on myself. So wider stance, dropping into that chair or that goddess pose with the knees apart. Do a light version. It doesn't have to be hard. Light version doesn't have to be hard. And then bring the weights towards each other end to end. And so as you drop your knees open, you're going to drop the weight straight down, not leaning forward. And then you're going to lift the weights like you're gliding them up towards your chest, not towards your chin. Down straight and up straight. And so what I want you to think about is your spine not leaning forward. I care less about how low you go and more about keeping the weight close to your body. And if you feel this in your neck, you might change weights. It might be a little too heavy. This is right directly into shoulder work. And let's do one more. Good. And now find a comfortable place again where your arms are resting down, but your legs are slightly bent. And I want you to turn the hands open so the palms face forward. And then turn the hands in so the palms face towards your body. So it's open and close. And you might notice that you're squeezing your shoulder blades. That's fine, but keep your spine still. Squeeze, palms open. Good. And now if you feel like you want to, this can get a little bit harder by bringing the elbows into a bent arm position so you look like this, and then let them come back down. So this is a little bit more into the rotator cuff, a little bit more into the upper back. Again, don't let it feel like it's in your neck or jaw. Good. And then we'll do one more variation. This is the hardest one still. The elbows are going to move away from the body and you're going to come into a big open position. This is hardest, so if it feels too much, you can stay where you were, or you can lighten your weight. This is 3. We're doing 5, about 5 of each. Waking up those shoulders. Good, one more time. And rest. Nice job. Bring your feet together. Set your weights down for a second. We're going to work with a heavier weight next. And we're going to do something a little different. I want you to take one block. And I want you to think about standing in a neutral position. You're going to take your block on the flat side and put it down on the floor. And you're going to have one foot on the block and one foot on the floor. Now, what I want you to think about is you're not going to stand exactly side to side because of where the block is and how high. So step back just a little bit so that you feel pretty stable. Hips are parallel, so I don't want you to cock your hip up to the side. And I'm just going to stay with these same weights for now. So we're going to do a squat with our foot on the block. Ready? And so we're going to just do an easy bicep curl. Ready? So sit back, curl your hands to your shoulders. So you're in the squat position, and then stand and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Sit. And so for this one, you can use a heavier weight. We're working in the legs, and of course the biceps can handle it. And your sit is your own. You can tell that you've got most of your weight on the floor, some on the block. All right, now the next one, I want you to stay down there, hands by your shoulders. I'm going to keep my bottom foot on the floor, but I'm going to push off my block and come up on my tippy toe. So my foot's still there. I don't want to fall off the block, and then sit back down into that squat. Push into the block, let your foot just hover, and then down. Next time you come up, push your arms up over your head if you want that extra work. Come back down, sit. So I've never taken my foot on the floor off the floor. I'm just rolling from the heel to the toe. Push. And down. And we'll do one more. Push. And down. Good. Now bring your weights to your chest. Stand all the way up. Push on that block. And now see, can you lift your foot off the floor? If you can do that easily, see if you can bring your knee forward. Standing on the block, push down into the block. Good. Release and come down. Switch your feet. Same thing. Arms down by your side, shoulders on your back. As you sit, your arms curl to your shoulders. And as you stand, push into the block and come all the way up on your toe. Sit, curl, stand, toe. So working on the opposite leg, it might feel a little bit wonky. Might be stronger on the other side. Okay, one more time. This time, keep your hands where they are. Push up and push your arms overhead. Sit, land. Push, reach, sit, land. So we're still in that squat, but now we added some more arms. Remember, you don't have to do overhead. 2 more here. Push, reach, down, sit. One more time. Push, reach, down, sit. Now bring your weight to your chest. Come to stand. Come all the way up again. Flex your foot or ankle so it's off the floor. And then see if you can bring your knee forward. Pressing into the foot on the block. Chest high. Whoop. Chest high. And exhale, release. Okay. Keep your block on the floor. Leave it on the low side. And stand on one side of it. So you can hold the blocks or not. Hold the weights or not. But keep your arms engaged. If you're doing that, you're going to just step over that block. And step over the block. And try not to look at the block. See if you can do it with your proprioception. And again, this is a little bit of recovery, letting your body shift to gears. Notice if you're breathing through your nose or your mouth. Whenever you breathe through your mouth, the medical fitness people call this respiration break point, meaning that you've pushed past your plateau and you're in a higher threshold, which for short periods of time are good, but for long periods of time, not so good. So the yogis and the Ayurveds help you to breathe through your nose more so you have a deeper lung capacity and you don't push your body into that fight or flight mode. Last one, rest. Nice job. All right, so we're going to go back to the block. Wait, I'm thinking. Yeah, let's go back to the block. I'm going to turn sideways. And what I want you to do is put one foot on the block. And remember, the first time around, we were a little bit closer. This time, step back further. So you want to be able to put your heel down, but you are going to lift your heel up. Hands come to your shoulders. So I want you to think now, instead of going up, we're going to go down. So bending your back knee and your front knee, dip down like you're going to put the weight down on the floor. You may or may not get there. And then come back up, weights to your shoulders. Shifting to the ball of your foot on the back leg. And then shifting to the heel when you stand. Follow the back foot. So we're working with squatting and lunging at the same time. And up. And I'm going slow so you can really feel the transfer and where the work is. Last one. Good. And then release it. Switch your weights to your chest. Come forward onto the block so you're on the ball of your foot. Press so the back leg lifts off the floor. Now you're in a little baby warrior 3 pose. Take a breath here. And then release. Good. Switch sides. We'll do the same thing on the other leg. Using the block. Losing the block helps us to get a greater range of motion. Hands to your shoulders. So step back far enough so that you can actually get this done. And as you start to bend your knees, your back heel will lift off the floor and you'll tip down. And then you'll come back up. And you'll tip down. And you'll come back up. Down. Trying to keep the spine nice and long. You're hinging from your hip, the front leg hip. And down. And we'll do one more. Down. And up. Transfer weight to your chest. Shift weight to your front foot. Push and lift the back leg off the floor so that the leg is behind you. Heart is forward. Take one more breath. And then release it. Great. All right, so set the weights down and bring 2 blocks to the front of your mat. I want them on the high side. And you're going to work with the blocks in what I call a standing table versus kneeling on the block, or kneeling on the floor. So put your hands on the blocks so they're under your shoulders. And stand with your feet in a neutral position. Now my hamstrings are short. And if I straighten my legs, I might feel a little bit of rounding in my spine. So I could bend my knees and make my spine feel a little bit longer. So you decide what you're doing. You're going to bring your feet to touch. Then you're going to lift your right leg straight off the floor so the toes are facing down. You can stay here. You can come up on your fingertips and bring your chest up more. You can stay here. You can bring if your right leg is behind you, bring your left hand to your heart. So we're working with warrior 3. Back leg body is really active. Standing leg is really active. Heart is lifting. And then lower the hands and lower the foot. Switch your sides. Left leg lifts up straight, toes to the floor. Stay here. Think about your spine. Maybe come up on your fingertips. That helps you to get the weight in your leg and out of your hands. And then if you feel stable, right hand to your chest. And what I like about that is it helps me remember to bring my collarbones forward as I press my heel back. Breathe. And then release, hand to floor, foot to floor. Bend your knees to sit and then come to stand. We're going to do a similar kind of action, a little bit deeper action. And what I'm going to say about that is if you're tall or you have long legs, this might feel too low. So you might want to stack your block one on top of the other. I put mine on the flat side and brought the tall side on top. And that brings the height up. And you'll see why I need to do that in a minute. So I'm going to stand in front of it. And I'm going to think about holding the block with both hands. I just have my one block here. But before we do that, I want you to stand up and stand right in front of the blocks. You're going to take your right foot and crisscross it over the left ankle. Okay? And then from here, you're going to lean forward and grab a hold of your blocks. You can stay here. You can also take your right ankle and slide it up above your knee. Flex that foot. You can stay here. You can bend your left knee, the one you're standing on, and start to sit backward, as if you're going to sit in a chair, keeping this cross leg over and keeping your foot active. And the lower you sit, obviously, the more stretch or action there is. Finding your sweet point. And breathe. Imagine your spine's nice and long, so don't want to be rounded over and kind of collapsed in your front body. So I always think front body as long as the back body. Sit a little bit deeper. Breathe. And then release and uncross. Standing all the way up. Take a moment there. And then cross your left ankle over, so I'm on the ball of my left foot, kind of helping me stay upright. And then bend over so you get your hands on the blocks again. And then stay here. Make a decision. You know it's coming. Or slide your ankle up above your knee and flex that foot. You want to be able to bend your knee and have the ankle on top of it. And then you can start to sit. Start to sit. And this side will feel different. Remember to keep your cross-legged foot flexed. You're pulling your toes towards your knee. You find your edge and you're breathing. So notice the balance. Notice the length of the spine. Notice the breathing. Moving with intention for inspired action. One more breath here. And then release. Bring your foot down to the floor. Now separate your feet so they're as wide as the mat. You can turn your feet open like we did in the beginning, and then sitting back and down, looking for more range. Anything happen? Anything new happen? And then move your blocks out of the way, fingers on the floor. You might come lower. You might notice that your hips will go lower. And if your hips go lower, your hands can come forward. You take a big deep breath here, and then hands go back on the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. And just remember that when you do downward facing dog, if your heels never touch the floor, you're probably like me. You have short Achilles, you have short hamstrings and calves. Powerful, but short. So just widen your stance. And then come forward into your plank pose. Knees can be up or down. We're going to lower ourselves all the way to the floor. Keep your toes turned under as you push through your legs. And now start to lift your chest up. Now I've turned my hands a little wider so my elbows come into my back body. And I'm doing a cobra-like move here. Belly down, hips down. Press through your feet. Lift up through your front body. Use your hands a little. Nice long breath. Good, one more breath. And then lower. Press back, hips to heels. You're gonna pause here. You can rest your head on your hands, or you can rest your head on the floor. And find your breath in your back body. And play with that idea. We're very busy people, and I know that you guys work out. So it's important that you work out to a certain level to get a response, and that would be intensity. But do we do it with intention? Are we moving our bodies with intention so that we can get that inspired action, so that we're not overtaxing our system? And especially as a woman, men can tolerate this much easier than women. As we age, it actually starts to deplete us if we move too hard, too fast, too much. So there's this balance always. Alrighty. So take a breath and come back up to table. And we're going to do a similar movement pattern that we were doing on the floor earlier. It's going to create a little bit more intensity in the arms. And so if you need the blocks under your hands, please take them. So go back to downward facing dog. Bring your feet all the way together. Find a still point here. And then you're going to lift your right leg up straight to the ceiling. We've done this once already. But this time, open your right hip and bend your knee. And try to imagine that your knee is growing longer away from your chest. As you press into your hands, drop your left heel more. Now you may come up on your right fingertips. Press through your right fingertips to open the chest and maybe look under your right arm. Can you find your right psoas? Heel towards the buttocks. One more breath here. And then start to roll yourself back into center. Feet come back to neutral, right next to each other. Shift into plank pose. And that's a big move for your body. That's why we go slow. Go back to downward facing dog. Lift your left foot straight up, toes are down, pressing into both hands. Turn the left hip open and bend the left knee so your foot's coming towards your buttocks. And start to imagine distance between your left knee and your hands. And maybe you're going to come up on your left fingers. That's a maybe. Opening your knee up more, turning and looking under your left arm. Heel to your buttocks, right heel to the floor, twisting. Good. Release and come back to center. Plank pose. That's something to do. All right. We're going to play a little bit more. Go back to downward facing dog. Widen your stance to your edges of your mat. Feet are as wide as the edges of your, or hands are as wide as the edges of your mat. So you're in downward facing dog here. We're going to come forward into plank. Bring your right knee to your left elbow. So you're using your core here. Stretch out your right leg. Feel the stretch, feel the twist. Good. Come back and downward facing dog, wide feet. Come forward again, left knee to right elbow, and then stretch your leg out. Feel the twist, feel the intensity. And then come back and stretch. Right knee to left elbow again, leg stretches out. This time, lower your right hip to the floor. Your legs are straight and they're pushing like they're trying to get longer. You can stay here or you come down on your elbows. So you're in a twist and you're working on your outer body on the right side, inner body on the left side. So keep your back leg active. Turning the belly button to the floor, reaching with your right foot.
Great.
Take one more breath. And now we got to come up and do the same thing on the other side. So hands on the mat. Press your hips away and come back to that wide-legged downward facing dog. And then one more time on the other side. So the left knee comes forward to the right elbow and stretches out. And then this time, press to your feet so your left hips lands on the floor. Let your back foot, your right foot, land on its inner edge. Left foot reaches through the outer edge. Turning belly to the floor, coming down on your elbows if you can. Noticing the difference between the right and the left leg. And the tendency is to relax the legs, which makes it easier. I want you to keep your legs really active, drawing through the whole body here. Belly button to the floor, like turning towards the floor. One more breath. And then hands come back to the mat. Push your hip off the floor and then come back to downward facing dog. Nice wide stance, nice wide hands. Find that beautiful still point. And then knees come to the mat, toes come toward each other. Child's pose, pause. We'll take 3 to 5 breaths here. Again, recovery. Letting yourself feel the breath through the nostrils. And then I want you to find your way up and down, come down onto your back. You're going to need your strap here. So grab a hold of that. Finding a neutral position as you rest here on the floor. Can you feel your pelvis and the weight of your right and left pelvis? And then on purpose, take your lower back and push it into the floor. Take your lower back and arc it away from the floor. And then find some place in the middle of those 2 points that would feel like you're neutral. And this is important because we all have a different spine structure, and not everybody can do a flat back or an arch back. So everybody's a little different. And then see if you can imagine a corset-like action coming from the core of your body, from your ribs to your hips. So as you exhale, everything comes into the center. Feels like you're wrapped around, which you are with all your musculature, and you're holding that corset-like bracing. You will be able to breathe, but it'll be a little higher in the chest. But the ribs are kind of knitted down into the body. The hips are knitted in and up towards the body, but you didn't flatten your back. That's the key piece. Now we're going to keep all of that engaged and bring your legs up like you're in tabletop, upside down. Put your hands on your thighs. Shoulders are on your back, neck is nice and open, jaws relaxed. Now push into your hands and resist with your legs without moving them. And you just kicked your core engagement up a little bit more. And just really be honest with yourself here. Can you find your pelvic floor and draw that energy in and up through the midline of your body? From here, you can stay, or you can stretch your right leg away from you and stretch your right arm behind you and stay for a breath, reaching in two different directions while you push on your left leg. This is a fairly intense action. If you're strong in your core, it'll feel good. It won't feel hard. And then come back to center. Right hand stays on right leg, push. Left leg, left arm separates. So it's a different pattern than what you might be used to, so you really have to focus. Notice if it feels like you can breathe through your nose. Come back to center, hand on your left leg, push. Right leg, right arm separates. Reaching in two opposite directions. So while your left hand is working against your left leg, your right leg is reaching, your right arm is reaching. Come back to center. One more time on the other leg. Push and reach. Want to be able to breathe and hold your neutral. Come back to center and then grab your knees and give them a hug. Nice job. Feet on the floor, wide knees, arms in cactus, or you can put them behind your head. So your elbows are going to stay down while you let your knees swish from right to left. This time, let your whole hip move. Let your knees drop in and down. Try not to move your feet. Now, if your left leg's kind of dangling in the air, draw that toward the floor as you press into your left elbow. This is similar to what we were doing when we were seated. And then inhale, come up. Switch your side. So if you're leaning on your left hip, your right leg is going to be the one in the air. Press that down as you press into your right elbow. And you'll notice you have a tighter side. We all do. Let's do that a couple of times with that kind of awareness. Knees go to one side, press the elbow of the opposite side down. And trying to, if you want, this bottom leg, hook over the top knee. So that's a little bit more intensity. So remember, it doesn't necessarily have to happen. Come back up, switch your side. So as I go to my left, I'm going to push down in my right elbow. And maybe when I get here, I'm going to take my left foot and hook it over my right knee. And that's just a different action, a little bit more strength involved, a little bit more energy. And then inhale, come back to center, unhook. Take your hands out from behind you and hold the edges of your mat. I want you to push your hands away from you and try to pull the mat apart, roll the shoulders underneath your body. With your feet wide, push your pelvis up. So keep your arms engaged. You might roll your shoulders underneath you even more. And keep your hands like they're trying to push and pull while you press into your feet to lift your hips. If your feet are not underneath your knees, you might get a cramp in your hamstring. Eyes straight up, neck not on the floor. Now you may decide to lift your heels. And if you lift your heels, you can walk your feet closer to you. And you might be able to push up higher still. The height doesn't matter. You're just looking for a freedom. Eyes are up. Chin is not touching your chest. You're on the shoulders and your arms are super active. One more breath here, and then release and come down. Bring your knees wide towards your chest, gentle now. You can stay here or you can bring your feet to the sky and either hold your knees or reach up and hold your ankles or maybe your big toes. Now, if you do what I'm doing and my shoulders are way up off the floor, this is not a good position. You back up and you drop your shoulders. I've been traveling a lot. I just got back. So I'm not going to overdo. My body will unwind itself as I'm home. And then go ahead and release your feet. Put your feet together and hold on to your shins or your ankles and let your knees fall open. You'll notice your lower back come off the floor and it'll feel really nice and spacious. So take a breath here. And let your feet come all the way to the floor. Keep the shape if you can. Knees splay open. Interlace your fingers. Push your palms to the ceiling and then go up and over your head. Nice long reach here with your arms right along your ears. Press your feet into each other. And take one more breath. As you exhale, hands come down. Support your knees as they come in. We're going to do one more thing, and this is where the strap comes in. Now, if you have a loop in your strap, you can leave it that way. It'll be a little bit easier for you to manage this. I'm going to make mine a little bigger. And I want 2 feet in the strap. So if you're holding it without a loop, you just have a hold of it with both hands. If you've got the loop, you're going to hold it with both hands, but just on the tail. And I want you to press your feet into the loop outward. Push straight up and then push outward. And then you'll see how my legs will move back away from me. I'm going to start to move my legs forward wherever I can and keep the action in my legs and my feet. Now, if you have one tail, like I do, you could take your hands behind you and reach back behind you so that you're stretching your arms back while you're working your legs. You can do that with one tail or 2. Just keep your feet active. That's the key. Keep your legs active and draw the arms back so that you're working through the whole body. Breathing, keeping your pelvis on the floor. Don't let your pelvis roll off the mat. Pressing legs open, reaching arms back. One more breath. And then holding on to the tail, you can just start to lower your legs all the way to the floor. And you can keep the tension on the tail so that you don't overwork here. We're right at the end. And so you just allow the legs to come to the floor. Once they get to the floor, go ahead and press the feet apart again and just keep the tension on the strap so that you can keep that action going and really feel the length of your whole body. And then take one more breath and then let go of the strap. You can move it off your feet. And then pause. Close your eyes. Feel the weight and the density of your body as you rest here on the mat. Allowing the breath to move in and out effortlessly through the nose. Letting go of effort. Letting go of doing. And just be in that still point. Body, mind, spirit. Take one more nice, long, deep breath. It's starting to feel and sense the body as you stretch and move, coming back. And as you feel ready, you can bend your knees and roll to a side, pausing there for a breath or two. When you feel ready, you can press with your hands and slowly come to sitting. Allow the hands to come to your heart center. Just pause here for a moment and notice the effects of the practice. Do you feel energized and nourished? Then you moved from intention and created inspired action. Gratitude for our time together on the mat, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.